In a way, I think the Negro has functioned in this country for a long, long time as the wall between white Americans and tragedy, white Americans and sex, white Americans and suffering, white Americans and death, and all the things of which the Negro is accused in the minds and hearts of most white Americans are the things that most white Americans are afraid to deal with in themselves.
Oh yeah, what's up YouTube? Drill Sergeant here. And this is gonna be a little bit different from your average flaming. This piece of feces right here, Braden. What a stupid name. What a fucking stupid name that is. Braden. Your parents have shown themselves by naming you that, you worthless, mediocre piece of white trash. Listen, this is gonna be different from every other flaming and fatful I've ever done because this time, there's just no reason to contact the work. There's no reason to try to figure out who he is, and you're gonna find out that later. So instead, YouTube, this flaming is going to be simply about embarrassing, simply about humiliating this guy and his family and everything that he stands for to such a degree and in such a way that it will have to get back to him so that he can see it and he can see for himself what a real man looks like for the first time in his life. His father's not one. Nobody who he obviously hangs around is one. And the only reason someone does something like this is because their insecurities have bubbled over to such a degree that, just like James Baldwin said in the beginning, he's unwilling to deal with certain things in himself. And I'm here to help him deal with it today. I've got time, Braden. The only way to do this to someone this gross and disgraceful and degenerate is in 3 parts. Part 1.
Braden's parents have failed him and have failed America by excreting this piece of shit onto the earth and raising him to be just like them.
It's gross. Exhibit A.
So I'm getting married today. And so I thought, who better to get ready for this day with than the man who's raised me? This guy.
That'd be me.
Yeah. That's his dad. And now you see why I can't just expose him. And now you see why there's no showing the boss or bringing it to his work, because he doesn't work. He doesn't work. His daddy is Kevin Sorbo, the actor, who's made all the money that he will ever need. So all Braden has to do is sit on the couch with his hands in his pants all day long and make racist videos. The truth is, I feel bad for his wife. I do. You see, I believe that his wife thought that she was marrying the, almost famous X-Magazine model Sorbo. But instead, she's getting the basement-dwelling, racist, fundamentally broken, delusional, and the I'm even more entitled than my father because I didn't even have to work for it, Sorbo. Damn, girl. I'm sorry. You know you don't have to go through with this, do you? Right?
So then you've been married for 28 years, what is the best piece of advice that you can give me as I get ready?
Well, that grass is never greener on the other side of the fence. The grass is never greener on the other side of the fence. The grass is never greener on the other side of the fence.
Did he just say, on this side of the fence? The grass is never greener on this side of the fence. Freudian slip, maybe. As a matter of fact, maybe not even a Freudian slip. Let's just talk about the fact that, why is that the first piece of advice you give your son? How often are you thinking about cheating on your wife, Kevin?
And all the things of which the Negro is accused in the minds and hearts of most white Americans are the things that most white Americans are afraid to deal with in themselves.
Huh? Why is that the first thing you think of as advice? Not be kind, be loving, take care of your wife, call sometimes when you're late. Not make sure to keep doing the same things you did to get her. The things that men tell other men when they're growing up. The things that men think about when they love someone deeply. No wonder he's gonna fail at marriage like he's done at life already. This you, Kevin Sorbo? You were better when you were a magazine model. Stupid idiot. That's you, Kevin? Uber alpha male? That's you? Damn.
Remember the guy who played in the series Hercules? Yeah, that guy, Kevin Sorbo. He says, Hollywood will not hire me because I'm conservative, I'm Christian. Here it is.
A call from Netflix saying, hey, we know you have a strong foot in this inspirational world. We want to open an inspirational division here at Netflix. Had 3-4 meetings with them over a couple months, gave them some great projects for television or for series or for movies. They still didn't make the move on it. I think there's such a weird ideology on it. They're afraid I still think they want to, but they're afraid, oh my gosh, we'll get a backlash from within the Hollywood elite if we do a movie that's got a positive message in it. And so it's unfortunate. I always joke that if I played a radical Islamic terrorist in a movie, I'd get nominated for an Academy Award. And that's really a weird world we're in right now.
Damn it, Kevin. When you're right, you're right. Hollywood has no room for D-list, mediocre ass white male actors. It's a shame. Let's put up the picture of his most iconic work, Hercules. The legend continues.
Your father is an F-list actor who blames all of his failings on everyone but himself for not being good enough. That's your father.
And all the things of which the Negro is accused in the minds and hearts of most white Americans are the things that most white Americans are afraid to deal with in themselves.
The mandate that I'm referring to is one you all call the Biden executive order a vaccine mandate. You don't agree with that. You know that's not a mandate.
I'm sorry, I'm confused.
The vaccine protocol through the executive action of Biden, which says that if you are an employee at a company with 100 employees or more,
right,
then you either A, have to get vaccinated, or B, not get vaccinated, and you have to take a test once a week. That's not a COVID vaccine mandate, correct?
It sounds like a mandate to me.
Or you can not get the vaccine.
I beg your pardon?
You can also not get the vaccine and just take a test.
Yes.
So it's not a mandate.
Well.
All right, I gotta go. It's been fun. I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you. Yeah, she hasn't had into work either, so I guess, Okay.
Braden, is that your mother, Braden? Another failed actress. Braden, your mother went to college, but majored in finding a husband. And then, like all other ditzy white girls who are mediocre, she tripped and fell into acting like a less attractive Pamela Anderson. That's what happened, Braden. That's your mother. And all of that would be fine. All of that would be fine. Except for the fact that she has now decided to homeschool you. Talk about the blind leading the blind. No wonder you're a degenerate, unstable, racist sociopath with a room temperature IQ, Braden. You literally learned it from your mother. Wow.
It pains me. I've been sounding this alarm about what's been happening in our schools for quite a while, and it's never been quite this dire. It was always dire in my mind because parents don't understand what they're sacrificing when they send their children to school, when they send their children away from them for 7 to 8 hours a day or more. They don't understand the sacrifice that they are actually making. They think that it's a net gain, and it's not. And it's not even a net zero. It's a net loss they are sacrificing. And so now we've got critical race theory, which really makes this a much more dire situation than before, because critical race theory teaches, there are a couple things about critical race theory that you need to know. So first of all, they have their, what do they call it? It's the theory of original sin, which holds that the United States is original sin, that whiteness is original sin, that you cannot escape it. But it's their second doctrine, which is really, in a sense, even more important, because the second doctrine holds that there is no forgiveness or redemption from that.
And all the things of which the Negro is accused in the minds and hearts of most white Americans are the things that most white Americans are afraid to deal with in themselves.
I get it now. I get it now. It's a lot easier feeling superior, Braden, when the couch, the literal couch, And a mediocre intellect at best with tits is the only thing you have to compare yourself to. And on top of all that, the only thing your daddy taught you was how to avoid criticism at all costs and how to boost your ego by shitting on others who weren't born on third base like you, although you swear you hit a home run. It all makes sense now, Braden. Your parents are failures, and they failed in raising you. And this is what you've become. It's all makes sense now, and I haven't even started yet. Part 2.
Why Breton Sorbo is a disgusting, filthy human being, and is a symptom of a disease now. But if left unchecked, will become the disease itself, like pus is to a pimple.
I wonder why the media is not covering this. This is Dustin Wakefield, a 21-year-old from Castle Rock, Colorado, who was on vacation in Miami with his wife and their 1-year-old son, Eli. One day, down on South Beach, they decided to grab lunch at a nice little Mexican restaurant, and in the middle of their meal, a stranger walked up. Everybody meet Tamarius Blair Davis Jr., the person who walked up to the table and interrupted the lunch. Tamarius, for no reason at all, decided to just pull out a firearm and start waving it in the air, eventually pointing it straight at Eli, the 1-year-old baby. Dustin then got up and put himself between Tamarius and his son, begging him to spare his life. He said, quote, "Please don't shoot my son, he's just a baby." Tamarius then pulled the trigger several times, just unloading a magazine into Dustin, which ended up taking his life as he protected his son. Davis, when arrested by the police, said that he, quote, randomly chose to target Dustin Wakefield and his family, and had even attacked another person just a few hours prior. Now, you would think that this would be a bigger story. A wife is now without a husband, and a 1-year-old has to grow up without his father. But for some reason, you really only get a couple local papers, Miami Herald, South Florida, NBC6, almost like the media doesn't really want to cover this story for some reason, as if it doesn't fit their narrative or something.
Why? That's interesting. Why didn't we hear about this? And I subject to you, maybe it's because it's from 2021. It's 5 years ago. Braden, it's 5 years ago. No wonder when you just posted this, last week or some shit, that no one heard about it. No one's talking about it. I wonder why. But instead, you see, I'm wondering why you didn't have anything to say about this story. Even though it happened damn near the same day you posted your bullshit story that was about something that happened 5 years ago, and it was even from the same state, Florida.
More on this investigation. Summer.
Hi, Rick. On Tuesday, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office says 51-year-old Russell Cott killed his ex-girlfriend and her son in Fort Lauderdale. That was last week before driving to Sarasota, where he killed 4 more people in the Amber Leah community. And
all the things of which the Negro is accused in the minds and hearts of most white Americans are the things that most white Americans are afraid to deal with in themselves.
Yeah. That's why. That's why James Baldwin is correct. That's why, Braden, you insecure fuck, you moron, you failure, you disease, you pus in the pimple of the ass of America. Next, this might be my favorite one.
Let's play a game. I'm going to give you 2 court cases that took place in Minnesota, and you get to tell me what the outcome was. The first one is Shiloh Hendricks, the woman who said the N-word at a park. It all started when a child allegedly stole something from Shiloh's bag. She then called him the N-word, at which point people became offended, and a man filmed her, to which she said on camera, again to him, the same word. The second is the case of this man, originally from Somalia, Sharmake Bilay Omar. He was charged with of a 16-year-old girl that he had picked up after she ran away from home. He brought her back to his trailer, propositioned her, saying, "Let's do this." She said no. He didn't take no as an answer and continued to have his way with her. She was kept there for about 24 hours, and he and a friend stole the shoes off of her feet so that she couldn't run away. Now, knowing both of these stories, which one do you think received a trial and a sentencing? If you had said Shiloh Hendricks for saying the N-word, you would be correct. You see, the charges were filed against Mr. Omar, but the prosecution waited 3 years so that the victim would age out of the foster care system, and then the charges would subsequently be dropped. However, Omar, the man who was charged with that, was the one filming Shiloh, and he decided to take her to court, and they just found her guilty of disorderly conduct, fining her $1,000, 90 days in jail, and 200 hours of community service for saying a bad word.
This is where the FAFO comes in, Braden. This is what a man looks like, because you have never seen one in your life. Number one, it's a good thing that troglodyte went to jail for verbally abusing the poor, young, black, autistic child that she verbally abused. But even more so for the child abuse that she has done to her own child who was there hearing the whole thing, who she's raising and turning into a troglodyte. He's going to have to work very hard to brush off and wash off the disgust and the filth that his mother has dragged him through and exposed him to. I'm glad she's going to jail. On the other hand, if the other guy, if that is true in any way, it's horrible. But it's not that hard to understand why they didn't do anything about it. My best guess, if you're right, I don't believe anything you say, but even if you were right and this guy was that bad and he did those gross things, the reason why he got away with it is obviously because all of the white, male, disgusting police officers in Minneapolis are okay with it. They love that stuff. They don't have a problem with it. That's why, Braden.
Tonight, charges now filed against a former police officer accused of a teenager.
2 months before he was charged, Jordan Zempel resigned from his job. Jennifer Hoff has more on what investigators say happened. Jennifer.
Well, Kevin, for nearly 4 years, Zempel worked at the Hill City Police Department, a small force almost 3 hours north of Minneapolis. But new documents show those crimes happened across the metro. And all of this only unfolding after a therapist made a mandated report. Zempel never was arrested.
And you get to tell me what the outcome was.
A police officer is charged with child. 26-year-old Dakota Dorn faces 8 felonies stemming from 2 victims' accusations. According to court documents, those accusations include inappropriate and exposing himself to a child, among other things. Dorn apparently met the victims during a ride-along and while volunteering at the middle school.
And you get to tell me what the outcome was.
First at 6, a former Olmsted County deputy is now federally charged with producing child materials. 45-year-old Matthew Adamson has been indicted for producing and possession of the material and coercing a to engage in illicit conduct.
And you get to tell me what the outcome was.
Holy crap, Braden, it's almost like you don't give a shit about child rape at all. It's almost like you only care that a black immigrant was the one who did it. And so it becomes obvious to the rest of us, Braden, that that's why it's the only thing you ever talk about on your entire channel, and not the crime. It's the color doing the crime. Huh? Braden, it's almost like it's only important to you when you can use it to reinforce your already deeply held beliefs. It's not really that important to you, is it, Braden?
And all the things of which the Negro is accused in the minds and hearts of most white Americans are the things that most white Americans are afraid to deal with in themselves.
EU. Part 3.
Breton Sorbo is a blunt instrument and a wannabe debate bro. So he has spent all his time figuring out every defense of his racism, but never once spent a minute on how to be a decent human being.
And we've reached the end, YouTube. We've reached maybe my favorite part. Braden, this is my favorite part because now I don't have to talk specifically about you anymore, you daft puzzle piece. This one is for the resistance. This is for the rest of you. And you, Braden, will just now be used as a framing tool, like the blunt instrument that you are. I love this part. And when the rest of you are bombarded by the right, cherry-picking and only showing you everything every person of color has ever done, these are things you need to remember, not just because it can be used in an argument, but because for your safety, you should be wary of Bradens everywhere you go. The breakdown of the individuals who've been sentenced for abuse against is white, orders of magnitude more than any other race. You should remember that. YouTube, you should remember that whenever you hear me talk like this, it's simply to make sure that you understand how ridiculous it is to see this race or that race and use that as some sort of an idea, except for the crime. To use that as the topic other than the crime. The crime is the topic. But if you're going to use race as the topic, and that gives you the excuse to dehumanize, then what do we do with you, Braden? That's the difference between you and I. I could do this all day, and I'd only wait to do it when you do shit like that. When you say stuff like this. I understand that human beings are human beings, and we are all disgusting. More than so. But when you focus on that and not the crime. I can do that too. For instance, here are the stats for child perpetrators in the United States. That tall line there, longer than everybody else, that's white people, white men like you, Braden, who I'm very skeptical of because you don't seem to have any problem with that crime. Only when the person doing it is the wrong color. That's what you have the problem with. That's why you don't have any shows about those police officers in the same city, same state, at the same time. None of them were important to you. What about white-on-white crime? Did you know 78% of all the white people who were dead by someone else's hands, those hands are white? You stupid idiot. Last thing I'll say about this is, for the rest of you out there who aren't racist shitbags, and for the rest of you out there who see through this part 3 as easy as you should, for what it really is, just a mirror. It's very important that you don't forget MAGA, Republicans, the right, I don't give a fuck what they say, and how many of them are leaving the cult because Monty Mader and the Knitting Cat ladies seem to know how to do that. I don't do that here. I need you to remember this when you are talking about MAGA. When you're navigating MAGA space, whether it's Braden Sorbo or not, you remember this. And when you look at that stupid idiot who's now gonna spend 90 days in jail because she called an autistic black girl the N-word, this is what has come of it. That's why it was important. Because like a big boil or pus, like a big boil or pimple on the ass of this country, if you let it fester, then you don't say anything, the pus itself becomes the disease. All of them. You remember this when navigating MAGA spaces, when listening to people like Braden about how unfair it is that this woman got 90 days. This is why. And it will only get worse when you don't punish it and call it out and force them to see the foolishness of their ways. That's what a man does. I know you've never seen one, Braden. Happy to meet you. The time to fight is now, idiot.
And I want to be clear about this. I cut out 20 minutes off of this video. I cut it out because I know that, nobody but my die-hard fans gonna want to see a 40-minute video of the same guy getting flamed. So there you have it. If you do, if that is you, then you can find the 40-minute version of this on Patreon and for channel members. But trust me, it only gets better. You can join up, become a member. But anyway, if not, I hope you enjoyed this 20-minute version. I got it in.
Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're gonna pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads. It's not for merch drops. but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works.